Welcome back everyone, my name is Lee from Lewis Kitchen. Today we're making this delicious, flourless and also keto orange and almond cake, and it's only 4 ingredients, so easy to make. So I was given these oranges from a neighbour's tree and I had to work out something to actually do with them rather than just actually juice them. So I was looking at recipes and I found an orange almond cake. Now, I tried making the 4 ingredient almond cake that just has the eggs, almond flour and sweetener in it, and it was dismal. I tried making it twice and it failed so badly. But I think this is gonna work out this time because we got the moisture of the oranges in it, and I think it's gonna turn out amazing. So the great thing about this recipe is it only uses these ingredients. So we've got 6 eggs here, which we're gonna separate. We're gonna put about half a cup of sweetener. So I'm using just a Revitol and stevia blend, 2 cups of almond flour, dash of salt, and then our pureed oranges. And the great thing about this recipe is anyone can probably have this. So unless you're allergic to almonds or nuts, then anyone can have this. And if you're diabetic, if you're doing keto, you're doing low carb, and you want a delicious dessert to end your night, this is for you. And it's just basic ingredients that you've probably already got in your pantry, so anyone can probably knock it up. So the first thing I've done is I've just washed my oranges. These were organically grown in my neighbour's backyard, so I don't have to worry too much about any of the nasties or anything like that, but I've just given it a good wash, and then what we're gonna do is gonna put into a saucepan, and then all we're gonna do is we're gonna cover these with water. And the reason why we're gonna boil these is to, one, really soften that skin, and secondly, it's gonna remove the bitterness from those oranges. So as you can see, these are floating at the moment. So what I'm gonna do is just grab a small plate and we're just gonna put that on top, and that's just gonna stop them from floating up and they're gonna fully cook. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna put these onto the stove and we're gonna let them simmer for about an hour. So while the oranges are cooking, I've portioned out 2 cups of almond flour. So I get the one from Costco and I find that is the best value for almond flour. So we don't need this yet, I'm just gonna put this aside. And then what we're gonna do is our 6 eggs, we're gonna separate them. So I find always bash them onto a hard surface such as your bench, and then just crack them open carefully. And all you can do is use the shell to just go back and forward. As soon as you see that yolk break, like it has now, then you can go into your bowl. And if you do get a bit of shell in like I just have, use your shell to actually get it out. It's a lot easier than trying to do it by hand. All right, so the oranges are now done. So if you feel them, they're nice and squishy now. So when we put them in the food processor, they are just gonna basically just fall apart into nothing. What we wanna do is just cut them open and just check them for seeds. I was told these ones are seedless. And then we can just put them into our food processor. So I'm just gonna cut it up in some smaller pieces just to make it a bit more manageable for the food processor. And then they can go straight in there. So all we're gonna do is we're gonna process this in high until everything is pureed and nice and smooth. Look at that. That just smells absolutely amazing. All right, we're gonna let this cool down and then we're gonna go and make the actual cake. So right at this time, get your oven heating up to 160 degrees. I'll put the Fahrenheit conversion down below for that. And firstly, we're going to do while we're waiting for this to cool down is get our egg whites all beaten up. So we want to get these egg whites into stiff peaks, and that's what's actually going to be lightening up our actual mixture. We're not using any rising agents or anything in it, so that's really important we do that. All right, so that's those done. Took next to no time, so I can put them aside now. And the reason why I did them first is because if we do the egg whites first, it doesn't really matter if we get the beaters dirty in the actual yolks, because it's not going to cause them to seize up or anything. If we do the egg whites next, then we have to wash the beaters and everything. So we just want to think about it that way. So what I'm going to do now is I've got our 6 egg yolks here, and then I'm going to add our half a cup of sweetener to our egg yolks. And then we're going to beat this until it's nice and fluffy. So now we're going to add our blended oranges. So to actually blend this, I used a knockoff Thermomix called a Bellini, which was out I think about 10 years ago. I still have it, works great. I mostly just use it for just blending and not so much cooking. And we do have a few different brands in Australia, such as Mistral and all that. So they're a good alternative compared to forking out, $2 grand on a Thermomix. The Thermomix are technically better, but if you're only going to use it for blending or something, then you could probably justify just buying something like this. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to mix this in and just get it all combined. And that is just going to keep the cake incredibly moist, and it's going to stop it from drying out. And what we're going to do now is we're going to start adding a little bit of the almond flour and then some of the egg whites, and we just want to just kind of go between them. If you try to do all the egg whites last, then it's going to be too heavy, and what's going to happen is the almond flour is going to be too heavy, and it's just going to knock out all the air out of your cake. All right, and then lastly, we want to finish with our whites just to make sure we can get as much air into that as possible. So just going to make sure it's all combined. So I have a springform pan that I've just lined with foil down the bottom there, just to make it a bit easier. And I'm just going to put some olive oil just around the edges, just to make sure nothing sticks. And then we're going to put this wonderful mixture. It's a lot lighter than the other recipes that I made, so I'm really happy with that. And I think those oranges are going to really keep it nice and moist. Just give it a good bash on the bench, and that just stops it from having any air bubbles. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this into the oven 160 degrees for 1 hour until it's nice and cooked, and then we're going to try it for dessert tonight. All right, so I've just pulled this out of the oven a little while ago. Now you can see it is a little bit darker than usual, and that is just common with things that are made with almond flour. And that's because it's made of nuts. Nuts will tend to brown very easily, so that is why. Also, it's going to puff up quite a bit when you take it out of the oven, and it is going to sink a little bit because it doesn't have any flour in it. So don't be alarmed when it does sink down a little bit like this. So we're going to let it cool down completely, and then we're going to try it out. All right, so let's dig into this. Let's try it out. There we go. Doesn't that look beautifully nice and tender? As for a gluten-free cake, it usually will be a little bit flatter than usual. Excuse the cat in the background, he just wants to go outside. Let's put some cream with this. And let's try it out. Oh. Compared to the 4-ingredient almond cake I made, and it was a complete flop, this is amazing. It's beautifully soft, and it has that beautiful tang of the orange as well. It's so good for afternoon tea. So I hope you give this one a go. So if you like this video, don't forget to give it a good old like. And if you want some more, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye.